This world doesn't belong to him. It belongs to someone
That's scary.
who is yet to come.
Yeah.
She tells him the maze wasn't meant for him. And then beats him
It
up.
almost sounds like a threat, you know?
Kind of was, wasn't it? Well, what part sounds like a threat?
That one day he's going to be in the ground, and she and the hosts like her are going to be the ones left standing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sounds like a threat, or just sounds more like what is a fact.
Yeah.
It's like the evolution will prove that him and all of his kind will be buried and become sand and amber or whatever she said.
But the thing is, like, even if that happens and all of these hosts end up escaping into the real world, it's like they can't really duplicate themselves again, can they? There's just going to be a fixed amount of hosts in the world that live forever.
Yeah. How good are their bodies? Can they have babies?
I don't think so.
They can't have little host babies? I guess they can't grow. They don't age, so. Yeah, it's probably not that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they could probably build their own, though.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, if Bernard was able to build more, then they just need to update their codes and build a whole army of it. But what's the point?
Yeah.
Sorry, was I? Well, the maze wasn't built for... Oh, yeah, so she beats him up now. Drags him into the front of the church. Breaks his arm. She does break his arm, right? We saw him later. It didn't look like he had his arm broken.
Yeah.
But we heard a crack. Throws him outside. Knocks away his gun. And just before she can shoot him, she waits a little too long and he stabs her in the gut. And this time it kind of decommissioned her a bit. We saw her get stabbed in the gut before and she shot people, ran away.
Yeah.
And this time she's...
Well,
really,
no, she was stabbed in the gut, shot people, ran away, but didn't she end up being repaired back at Westworld, which is why she got brought back to Sweetwater? Because when William ended up finding her, she was in Sweetwater and she had forgotten everything.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's why you couldn't find her. Why wouldn't he have just gone back to Sweetwater to begin with if he knew that she was
Maybe she
damaged?
thought, I don't know, maybe he thought she could withstand it and not submit to her code and die.
Yeah, withstand a horrible...
Gutting.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like the first place he should have checked. Or called the head office and asked if she's been put back on the roster. Anyway, just as he's about to slit her throat now, Teddy rides up, shoots him to the ground. Dolores, with her dying breath, asks Teddy to take her to where he promised, where the mountains meet the sea. And as they leave, Man in Black kind of wakes up. So Teddy saved the day, kind of.
Yeah.
Where's Teddy been this whole... Oh, yeah, he got off the train. Move that, okay. Yeah.
Then what happens?
I'm caught up. Then what happens? In cold storage, Maeve, Armistice, Hector, and Felix go to collect Clementine and find Bernard's body. Felix realizes that Bernard was a host the whole time and briefly wonders if he is as well. Did you like that scene where he looks at his own hands as soon as he realizes? Because he's been kind of questioning whether he was human or not. And
she's like, for God's sake, you're not one of us.
Yeah. But maybe he is.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe Ford just programmed her to not reveal that Felix is.
Do you think Maeve is conscious at all, making her own free will, making her own decisions, or do you think it's all been programmed? And that Dolores is really the only one who has free will.
Yeah.
True free will.
So far, I think I'm led to believe that Dolores is the only one. And that Maeve has the illusion of free will.
Right.
And even the power to realize what's happening to her and still be able to say that it is her choice, not... But she can see it right on that tablet, all of her... Every action she's made and everything she's about to do.
Yeah, it's trippy.
Yeah. And this time she just... Well, we'll get into... Well, she breaks it. She grabs it and is like, no, all of my choices are my own. And then she doesn't want to hear the truth.
Maybe it's just believing that you have free will that makes it free will.
Oh. No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
If you just believe in something, it's true.
Well, you could say, God made all my choices for me. It's all been planned out. Or you can believe, no, like I'm the one making my choices. It's kind of the same thing.
Okay. I guess, can you ever really make a choice?
Can you ever really make a choice?
Yeah.
Well, if you believe you can, then sure.
All right. I guess I haven't really thought about what I think then. Felix fixes Bernard real easy. Bernard says it's not the same time. It's not the first time he's woken up, and neither is it Maeve's. She asks how many others there are like her, and he says over a handful over the years. So Maeve wants Bernard to remove her bad memories about her daughter, everything like that. Bernard says he can't because how can she learn from her mistakes if she can't remember them?
Mm-hmm.
Ford walks up now to Man in Black, calls him by his name, William. So I don't know why I couldn't have just done that a few episodes ago, but for plot purposes, they are in the cemetery, and Ford says to William that he found the center of the maze, and it was all very unsatisfying for him.
Mm-hmm.
William looked so defeated, so
what was William
wasted.
Expecting to find for himself at the center of the maze?
Consciousness for the... I think he wanted to find what the hosts were also looking for, but he wanted it to be... Because... Okay, hold on. So the maze is unsatisfying to William.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, the maze was not meant for him.
Mm-hmm.
All he wanted, though, is what he tells Ford, is all he wanted was for the host to stop playing by Ford's rules, and that he wanted them to be able to fight back. He wanted something real.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what he thought the center of the maze was, and I guess he wasn't that far off, but he wanted it to...
happen all at once.
Yeah, and really manifest itself into something, instead of just a child's toy buried in the dirt. And I felt really bad for William. Not young Will, but old Will.
Mm-hmm.
Like he gave up so much in search of something that he could never find. Just like he said to Dolores that she's been searching all this time for something she'll never find. Mm-hmm. It turns out that's exactly what he did. He gave up everything. He was a victim. Trying to stand up to Logan kind of pushed him in this direction too. Mm-hmm. So his wife killed herself. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So his wife killed herself. His daughter doesn't want anything to do with him. He admitted he went evil, but it seems like it was in the hopes of waking up the other hosts. Like getting them to fight back. Like he was doing the same thing that Ford was doing, but just kind of rogue.
Well, originally he turned evil because he wanted to see if he was truly evil and truly capable of like killing these things, right?
But does that make him a bad person? If you want to see how evil he could be, if that's the kind of person he could be?
No.
Okay. Either way.
Obviously, I think that still doesn't answer his question of whether or not he's evil, because these things are hosts and, they're not actually real. Whereas if they had a consciousness and he killed them, it would mean something completely different. Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel now after this whole season that he's been killing these hosts? How do you feel about the hosts being killed at all? Like, do you feel like they have enough of consciousness to warrant being treated like humans?
Well, I think Dolores does, but not all of them for sure.
So if they haven't reached their sentience, they're okay to be killed, even though they have the illusion of feeling pain.
Mm.
For entertainment
because
purposes.
They can just be, rolled back, set back into motion. It's like it never happened.
I mean, I kind of agree with you, but just to play devil's advocate, how would it be if you just felt this horrible pain, but I could erase your memory every day?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I guess it's not right. Well, it's cruel.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what you're paying for, though.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying for the right to be cruel if you want. And no one can judge you. Anyway, the look of disappointment on his face was pretty crushing. Ford tells old Will that he may like his new narrative and to come join in the celebration that evening, since he owns most of the place anyway. Back in cold storage, Bernard looks up who's been messing with Maeve's narratives. It turns out that none of her actions were her own, like we talked about. She was programmed to do everything. The steps she followed are all listed, along with what's to come. The last thing we see on that tablet says, infiltrate mainland.
Mm-hmm.
Which she doesn't do in this episode.
No, so maybe that's when she gets her free will.
Yeah.
And it's only because of the memory of her daughter. So she has a reverie of her daughter again.
Yeah.
By seeing like a real child and a mother in the train.
Yeah.
And through that, she improvises by getting off the train, going off of her script.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to come to full self-awareness soon.
But I don't think she's ever... Yeah, maybe. I don't know
because she didn't follow the script in this. Like, she would have... If she would have followed the script, she would have gone to the mainland to infiltrate it.
Does she have to leave the park to infiltrate the mainland?
Maybe not.
I only say it because there's some feedback, so I was going to... It kind of touched on that.
Feedback?
Well, we'll get to it. I've already touched on all three things.
Talking about feedback.
Well, we only have 3 bits of... Well, only 3 things of something I'm going to read. The rest I'm going to save for 2 weeks from now when we do like a post-season recap, which I'm sure you're excited for. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, Maeve doesn't want to believe it, like I said earlier. They say goodbye to Clementine, who I guess cannot be saved. They cannot fix her. So they leave her and Bernard. Mm-hmm. Headquarters is notified of a disturbance in cold storage. And Teddy now takes Dolores to the beach in the evening, and they share some final words before she dies in his arms by a picturesque moonlight.
And then it turns out just to be like
the
a
Truman
play.
Show.
Yeah.
Just like when they went to the beach in the Truman Show.
That was a little bit weird. It's like, how much of it were they watching? How much was there an audience there for, you know?
Yep.
Was it just the beach scene, or was it...
I wrote this down because I have no idea what was going on here. Mm-hmm. Because so the audience is watching all this. They clap as soon as Dolores and Teddy have their final words. Ford introduces it as his new narrative called Journey into Night. And people kind of reluctantly clap, like they're not really impressed by it. Yeah. Probably because they've been waiting on a beach for hours to see a 2-minute scene that they couldn't even hear because they're whispering to each other. How does it work? We have old William was the whole reason that Dolores was injured in the first place.
Yeah.
How is Ford able to know that this would happen, that Teddy and Dolores would even be there for the unveiling? Like, if Man in Black had done something different, Dolores could be in repair, or Dolores could be halfway across the park if he kept going with her. It's just, at what point does that story start? It seems like the story was that she gets her gut stabbed. Mm-hmm. But it was done by somebody who wouldn't necessarily always do it.
I don't know. Oh, my God.
So everything could have gone so differently, and I don't think there's a reasonable solution that I can think of.
It doesn't make sense.
Unless
Ford was orchestrating every single thing, even and he even knew what William, a human, was going to do before he did it.
Yeah. I wonder if there's an easier explanation and we're just not seeing it. Or maybe at some point... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, what if they were preoccupied? And anyway, the dialogue also that Dolores was saying to Teddy, it was all about this place being a park and a place designed to keep them in. Mm-hmm. So it was very mood-breaking if it was actually scripted, like a scripted narrative. And did everyone hear that? Did everyone hear that she is gaining consciousness and
they must
wants out of the park? Because Teddy's line seemed right. Teddy's line seemed very, like Lee wrote them. Mm-hmm. And they were loud, like he was speaking to people from a stage. Everything Dolores was saying, she was whispering because she was dying. And I can't imagine they heard that. Mm-hmm. But it must be super boring for the audience.
Yeah.
Lee says this whole thing is a bit morbid, but Charlotte says he can rewrite it later, but that right now he has something somewhere more important to be. We're assuming it has to do with Peter Abernathy getting him onto a train, getting the information out.
Mm-hmm.